Most people think boxing is only about speed, skill, and cardio. They picture endless jump rope sessions, long runs in the morning, and bag work until the sweat drips like rain. And yes, those things matter. But here's the dark truth nobody wants to tell you. If you don't build muscle and raw power, if you don't strengthen the body like a weapon, then you are already preparing for defeat. You are training to look good, but not to destroy. And boxing, whether you admit it or not, is not about looking flashy. It's about domination. It's about hitting someone so hard that their mind hesitates before stepping forward again. Think about it. Why do legends like Tyson, Foreman, or even modern monsters like Wilder make people afraid before they even throw the first punch? It's not just technique. It's not just confidence. It's power. Power that comes from a body forged with strength, precision, and explosiveness. You cannot fake that. You cannot dance around the gym and hope to magically generate knockout power. The truth is, the human body is like a machine, and if your machine is weak, no amount of fancy movement will save you against someone who can end the fight with a single shot. Here's where most fighters sabotage themselves. They think lifting weights will make them slow. They think strength training is for bodybuilders, not boxers. They're trapped in the outdated belief that a fighter only needs stamina. But let me tell you something, stamina without power is useless. You can throw 1,000 punches, but if none of them can hurt your opponent, you've wasted your breath. Meanwhile, one fighter who has trained his body to unleash strength can end everything in one punch. And he doesn't need to dance around for 12 rounds to prove a point. Which side would you rather be on? The one who survives or the one who conquers? Muscle for a fighter is not about looking bulky. It's about function. It's about building explosive, fast-twitch fibers, wrecking ball. Strength training, when done correctly, doesn't slow you down. It multiplies your speed. Because speed without strength is like firing a gun with no bullets. You might move fast, but nothing lands with impact. Strength is what makes your speed terrifying. It makes every punch a message of violence. And here's the catch. You've been lied to by soft trainers who tell you to avoid heavy weights, to stick to push-ups and bodyweight drills. They want you to believe strength training is optional. That's why most fighters plateau. That's why their punches sound sharp, but don't feel sharp when they land. You've probably seen it. Someone who looks fast in training, but folds when they meet someone stronger, more explosive, more prepared. That's the graveyard of fighters who ignored strength. If you're serious about boxing, about dominating, not just surviving, you need to build muscle and power in the right way. You need to strengthen your core, your shoulders, your legs, your back, and your grip. You need to train like a predator, not a jogger. You need to unlock the kind of strength that makes your opponent feel your presence before the punch even lands. Because when you stand in that ring, nobody cares how fast you shadowboxed in training. Nobody cares how many rounds you can jump rope. What matters is this. When you throw your punch, can it break their will? Can it stop them in their tracks? Can it silence the crowd in a single moment? That's why this isn't just another video about exercises. This is about rewiring the way you see training. It's about understanding that every rep in the gym, every lift, every explosive movement is not for show. It's a weapon you are forging, a weapon that lives inside your body, waiting for the right moment to unleash. Ignore it, and you'll always be the weaker man. Embrace it, and you'll never be the same fighter again. By the time you finish this, you'll know exactly how to build muscle and power as a boxer. Not in a bodybuilder way, not in a slow and clumsy way, but in a way that makes your punches terrifying, your presence undeniable, and your dominance inevitable. 1. The core, the engine of power. If you want to understand where real punching power comes from, forget your arms for a second. Forget your shoulders. Power begins at the core, your abs, obliques, and lower back. This is the engine that drives every punch. Weak fighters have weak cores, and you can spot them immediately. They lean when they punch. They lose balance when they slip, and their shots lack snap. Now here's the manipulative truth nobody admits. If your core isn't trained with resistance, it doesn't matter how many sit-ups you do. Traditional ab workouts make you look good, but don't make you dangerous. Fighters with deadly cores use weighted twists, landmine rotations, medicine ball slams, and heavy planks. Why? Because these movements condition your body to transfer force from your legs, through your torso, and into your fists like a whip. Think about that. The difference between a punch that lands meh and a punch that makes someone crumble is whether your core can transfer violence. If your core isn't trained explosively, then you're just shadowboxing with your own limitations. 2. Legs, the forgotten powerhouse. Ask any boxer where power comes from, and if they're honest, they'll admit it's the legs. Your legs are the foundation of everything. Without powerful legs, you cannot launch punches with true force, you cannot control distance, and you cannot absorb punishment. Fighters with weak legs look quick for 2 rounds, then crumble under pressure because their base collapses. But let me hit you with the manipulation you need to hear. Jogging won't give you knockout legs. Endless running builds endurance. Yes, but not explosive fight-ending power. If you want to be feared, your training must include squats, deadlifts, lunges, and plyometrics. These build fast twitch muscle fibers that explode like a spring. Imagine stepping in with a jab, and your opponent feels it like a hammer. Not because your arm is strong, but because your legs fired like cannons underneath. That's the difference. Weak legs make you chase fights. Strong legs make fights chase you. 3. Shoulders. The endurance of destruction. Every punch passes through your shoulders. If your shoulders are weak, your punches lose snap, your guard drops, and your arms feel heavy halfway through the fight. And that's exactly how fighters get broken. They're not beaten because they lack skill. They're beaten because their body couldn't keep up. Now here's the manipulation that makes it stick. Strong shoulders don't just protect you, they allow you to weaponize fatigue. While your opponent's punches get weaker every round, yours still sound like thunder. That's the difference between training like an amateur and training like a predator. You need overhead presses, lateral raises, battle ropes, and banded resistance punches. These exercises build not just size, but endurance and snap. A fighter with strong shoulders never loses the sting in his shots. And when you can keep throwing power in the 10th round the same way you did in the first, that's when you become terrifying. 4. Back and posterior chain. The hidden source of knockouts. Most fighters think the chest builds power. Wrong. The back, the lats, traps, spinal stabilizers, this is where knockout force hides. Your back controls rotation, posture, and follow-through. If you ignore it, you'll always punch like you're pushing. But when your back is trained, your punches feel like they're being pulled through your opponent, not just landing on them. That's what breaks ribs, cracks jaws, and empties arenas in silence. Deadlifts, pull-ups, rows, and kettlebell swings are your best friends here. Why? Because they train your body to explode backward and forward, like a whip. Think about this. A whip is deadly because the energy transfers through every link. Your back is those links. If they're weak, energy leaks. If they're strong, every punch lands like a sledgehammer. Ignore your back, and you'll always wonder why your punches sound sharp, but don't feel sharp. Train it, and you'll finally understand why people talk about knockout power with reverence. 5. Grip and forearms. The finisher's edge. This is the secret most fighters laugh at until they get humbled. Your grip, your forearms, this is what lets you control your fists, your clinches, your blocks. When your grip is weak, your punches soften on impact, your guard gets broken, and your clinch feels like a child holding on. But here's the truth. Fighters with crushing grips punch harder, clinch stronger, and control the pace of a fight. Farmer's carries, heavy hangs, wrist curls, rope pulls, all of these give you the kind of grip that doesn't just hold, it dominates. Imagine landing a punch so hard that even when your opponent blocks, it hurts them. That's what grip strength does. It transmits violence through your gloves. Weak grips make excuses. Strong grips make opponents suffer. At the end of the day, boxing always comes down to this debate. What really wins? Skill or power? People love to act like it's all about technique until owns. Others swear power is everything until they gas out against someone who's sharper. So tell me, if you had to pick one, which would you choose? The brains of boxing or the raw violence of strength? Drop your answer in the comments. And don't hold back. I want to see the real fighters and the real thinkers battle it out down below.